The nurse and the millionaire hospital heir. Would you accept a loveless marriage just to save the life of the one you love? Would you be able to give up your own dreams to join your life with a man you barely know, but who carries a fortune on his shoulders and a heart marked by loneliness? What happens when a desperate decision puts two such different people on the same path? Camila, 23, was a newly graduated nurse at a public hospital in São Paulo. She worked long hours, always dedicated, even with the fatigue etched on her face. She cared for patients with affection, as if each life were unique, because she knew the value of health. Her mother was battling a rare disease, and the expensive treatments were beyond any salary she could earn. A virgin, always reserved, Camila dreamed of true love. But life seemed to want to place her before very different choices. It was during a night shift that her life changed. The hospital director asked her to come to the administrative office. There, she met the lawyer for the Albuquerque family, owners of the city's most prestigious private hospital network. He had a proposal impossible to ignore. Lucas Albuquerque, the hospital's millionaire heir, needed to get married, and soon. The reason? Lucas's mother had imposed a condition for handing over the presidency. He would only officially assume the position if he had a wife by his side, someone who would show the board that he was ready to mature. Camila was flawed. Lucas, the rich young man everyone talked about in the hallways, was known for his extreme shyness. At 27, he had never been in a relationship, never been seen at parties or with girlfriends. A virgin, a millionaire, and isolated, he now needed a wife to maintain his legacy. In exchange, the Albuquerque family would cover all of Camila's mother's treatment and ensure her financial stability. It was a cold, calculated, almost cruel agreement. But could she refuse when her mother's health was at stake? That night, Camila cried alone at home, facing the proposal. Marrying a man she barely knew, living a life of appearances, dealing with the pressure of the elite. Was this the right price? Or who knows, could it also be the chance to find, in the unlikely event, the love she'd always dreamed of? Before we dive into this surprising plot, tell me from which city in Brazil you are watching us. Leave a comment and I will respond with gratitude. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and like this video. We want to share more stories like this. The first meeting. The black car with tinted windows parked in front of the small building where Camila lived with her mother. Never in all her 23 years had she imagined that someone from the Albuquerque family would knock on her door. Neighbors peered out of their windows, curious about the commotion, and Camila's heart was beating so fast, it felt like it was about to burst out of her chest. When the car door opened, she saw for the first time Lucas Albuquerque. He descended with measured steps, his navy blue suit fitted to his lean, elegant body. His face was handsome, with fine features and clear eyes that, however, avoided direct contact. His gaze held a mixture of nervousness and distance, like someone unsure how to navigate outside his own world. Camila, in a simple nurse's uniform, felt small before him. Still, she lifted her chin, determined not to shrink. "Miss Camila?" Lucas asked, his voice low, almost shy. "Yes," he replied, remaining calm. "Mr. Lucas?" The silence between them was uncomfortable. Lucas seemed to struggle for words, and Camila, equally nervous, clutched her bag tightly as if it were a shield. Finally, he took a deep breath. "I know this all sounds strange. Believe me, it does to me too. But we need to talk." She nodded and followed him to his car. The drive to the Albuquerque mansion was nearly silent, broken only by brief comments. "Do you like your job?" he asked, looking out the window. "Yes, it's tiring but rewarding." "I understand. Nothing more." Camila wondered how this man, heir to a hospital empire, could be so withdrawn. There was no arrogance, but there was no naturalness either. It was as if he were trapped inside himself. The Albuquerque mansion was imposing, with white columns and meticulously manicured gardens. Upon entering, Camilla felt the weight of every luxurious detail, contrasting with her simple life. Lucas led her to a spacious living room where paintings of famous doctors adorned the walls. He remained standing nervously as she sat down. "I imagine you've heard about my mother's condition," he said finally. "To take over as president of the hospital, I need to be married." "Yes, they explained it to me," Camilla replied firmly. "But what do you expect from me, Lucas?" He hesitated, staring at the ground before answering. "Honestly, I don't know how to deal with people. I've always lived in the hospital, studying, working. He swallowed hard. "I've never had a girlfriend, a real experience. For the advice, I need a wife. But above all, I need someone who doesn't just see the money." Camilla watched him silently, feeling a pang of empathy. He wasn't arrogant, as she'd imagined. He was just lost. A millionaire, surrounded by wealth, but a prisoner of loneliness. "And in return," he continued, "your mother will receive all the medical treatment she needs. I've already authorized her transfer to our hospital." The words echoed like bitter music in Camilla's heart. The chance to save her mother's life was there, right in front of her, but at the cost of her own freedom. "So it would be a sham marriage," he said, trying to organize his thoughts. "Yes, 2 years. Neither of us needs to pretend more than our appearance in public." He looked up, shy but steady. "I expect nothing more." Camilla felt the weight of the decision on her shoulders. Part of her wanted to say no, to run away. But the memory of her mother, frail and helpless, spoke louder. "I accept," he murmured, almost without realizing it. Lucas stared at her, surprised. For the first time, a small relief appeared in his eyes. "Thank you, Camilla. You have no idea how much this means." Silence fell again, but it wasn't as cold anymore. It was a strange silence, filled with unspoken promises and a destiny neither of them had chosen, but which now bound them together. That night, back in her modest room, Camilla stared at the ceiling, unable to sleep. She was about to become the wife of a man she barely knew, a millionaire heir who had never experienced love. What if everything went wrong? What if he saw her only as an obligation? But deep down, the question that haunted her most was another. What if, in this fake marriage, she found true love? Coexistence and first shocks. The wedding was held discreetly, without the pomp expected of the Albuquerque family. Just a few witnesses, the lawyer, and the suspicious glances of high society who, even without an invitation, commented on every detail. Camilla wore a simple dress lent by a fellow nurse, and Lucas wore the same impeccable suit as always. There was no party, no dancing, just a quick ceremony that sealed a contract much greater than words. When they returned to the mansion, Camilla realized her life had already changed. Her room, decorated with expensive furniture and new clothes, felt more like a showcase than a home. The closet was full of designer dresses she would never have the courage to wear. On the bedside table, an arrangement of imported flowers exuded a perfume too strong for its simplicity. That night, Lucas knocked on the door just to say, "Good evening, Mrs. Albuquerque." The word sounded strange, almost ironic. Camilla smiled politely, but as soon as he was gone, she collapsed onto the bed, wondering if she'd made the right choice. The following days were spent adjusting. Camilla, accustomed to the noise of the public hospital and the exhausting routine, now lived in silence. The mansion was too big, too cold. The only constant sound was that of the staff walking back and forth, always respectful but distant. Lucas, meanwhile, kept himself busy at the family hospital, meeting with the board. When he returned, he would dine with Camilla at a table long enough to seat 20 people, but where only the two of them sat in silence. "Are you enjoying the food?" he asked one of those nights. "It's good, thank you." Silence. "Is your mother better?" he ventured. "Yes, the treatment is working." Camilla looked up, sincere for the first time. "Thank you for that." Lucas just nodded, as if he didn't know how to handle the gratitude. Camilla decided she couldn't continue living as a shadow. One day, she went down to the kitchen and offered to help the cooks. The women looked at her with surprise, an Albuquerque making salad, but accepted the company. When Lucas walked in unexpectedly and found her in an apron, chopping vegetables, his face hardened. "You don't have to do that." "I know," Camilla replied firmly, "but I want to. I need to feel useful." "It's not the role of an Albuquerque." She dropped the knife and glared at him. "So what's my role, Lucas?" "Sit at the table, smile for the cameras, and pretend I'm satisfied." He swallowed. For a moment he looked ready to argue, but then he looked away and muttered, "Maybe I don't know yet." It was the first time Lucas had shown vulnerability, and Camilla sensed there was more to him than the calculating millionaire heir everyone portrayed him to be. The following week, she accompanied him to a hospital benefit. The room was filled with business people, renowned doctors, and journalists. Camilla felt out of place, but Lucas surprised her by offering his arm. "Let's face this together." During the evening, she smiled politely, chatted with some doctors' wives, and listened proudly as Lucas introduced her. "This is my wife, Camilla." The word wife, it sounded different this time. It wasn't cold nor mechanical. It sounded like a title he actually wanted to live up to. When a journalist insinuated that the marriage was just an agreement, Lucas held Camilla's hand in front of everyone. "My wife is the reason I'm prepared to take over the hospital." His gaze was so intense that Camilla forgot for a moment that it had all started as a contract. On the way home, the car drove in silence. Camilla stared out the window, her heart racing. She could still feel his hand on hers, firm and warm. "You were amazing today," Lucas said suddenly. "It was just me." "That's exactly what surprises me." She smiled shyly, and he looked away, as if he couldn't handle her sincerity. The days continued to bring small discoveries. Lucas began appearing in the kitchen to watch her cook, without complaint. Camilla began accompanying him on walks in the garden, where they talked about trivial subjects, books, music, childhood. One night, as they walked under the moonlight, Camilla commented, "You don't seem happy when you're on the board." "I'm not. They see me only as an heir, not as a man." "And who is the man, Lucas?" He stopped, thoughtful, staring at the horizon. "I don't know yet. But when I'm with you, I feel like I can find out." The words made Camilla's heart race. Behind the millionaire was a fragile young man, searching for a greater meaning. In the intimacy of the mansion, the barrier between them began to crack. They were no longer just two strangers bound by a contract. They were two lonely souls learning to live together, to respect each other, and perhaps to love each other. Camilla knew there was still a long way to go, that the eyes held unanswered questions, and that the future was uncertain. But for the first time, she let herself be lulled by a silent hope. What if, in that unlikely marriage, she had found the man she had always dreamed of? The invitation arrived in a gold envelope embossed with the Albuquerque family crest. It was the private hospital's annual charity ball, a traditional event that brought together politicians, business people, and São Paulo's high society. Camilla had never attended such a lavish event. When the housekeeper showed her the dress she'd chosen for the occasion, a long navy blue gown embroidered with rhinestones, her palms began to sweat. What if I don't know how to behave? What if everyone realizes I don't belong in this world? Doubts gnawed at her, but there was no turning back. Being Lucas's wife meant facing those situations, even if her heart was racing. On the night of the event, Lucas was waiting for her in the mansion's foyer. He wore an impeccable tuxedo, and for a moment, Camilla almost didn't recognize him. He watched her descend the stairs, his pale eyes wide, as if he were at a loss for words. "You look beautiful," he murmured, almost voiceless. Camilla blushed, looking away. "Thanks." He offered his arm, and when she took it, she felt the firmness and warmth of his gesture. The closeness made her nervous but also strangely protected. The five-star hotel's ballroom was lit by crystal chandeliers, and guests paraded around in expensive jewelry and perfumes. As soon as they entered, all eyes turned to them. Lucas, accustomed to being stared at, stood erect. But Camilla felt the weight of the gaze, scrutinizing her every detail. "Stay calm," he murmured, as if sensing her nervousness. "We're in this together." And, in front of everyone, he intertwined her fingers with his. The simple gesture made Camilla's heart race. It was part of the act, she knew, but there was something about the firm grip of his hand that felt more real than it should have. During the speeches, businessmen approached, praising the couple. One woman commented loudly, "It's good to see that Mr. Albuquerque has finally found someone who completes him." Camilla smiled politely, but felt her cheeks heat up. Lucas, to her surprise, didn't deny it or look away. He simply leaned in slightly and said, "Yes, she completes me." The phrase, spoken so naturally, echoed in Camilla's heart. She wanted to believe it was just an act, but his eyes said otherwise. When the music started, one of the organizers announced the first dance. Everyone expected the Albuquerque couple to be the first to step into the center of the room. Camilla's eyes widened in alarm. "I can't dance," she whispered. "Me neither," Lucas replied with a shy half-smile. "But we can learn together." He led her into the ballroom, holding her carefully, as if afraid of hurting her. The first steps were awkward, but they soon found a rhythm. The world around them faded, and for a few minutes it was just the two of them, dancing in the golden light. Camilla felt her body surrender to his touch, his soft scent, the warmth of his hands. Lucas's eyes were fixed on hers, intense, almost hypnotic. "You're looking at me like I'm different," she murmured, unable to help herself. "You're different," he replied, his voice low but firm. "The only person who sees me beyond the name Albuquerque." Her heart raced. She wanted to respond, but the lump in her throat prevented her. The song ended, but Lucas didn't pull away immediately. He continued to hold her as if he didn't want to let her go. For the rest of the evening, the performance became increasingly natural. He performed it with pride. "This is my wife, Camilla." And each time he said it, the word wife, it sounded less like a contract and more like a truth. At dinner, Lucas would lean in to whisper comments in her ear, making her chuckle softly. To the guests, they were a loving couple. For Camilla, doubt grew. Were they really just pretending? As they were leaving the event, while they were waiting for the car, Lucas surprised her. He took her hand again, and without looking around, whispered, "Thank you for today. You were amazing." Camilla smiled, her heart racing. "I just did my part." He stared at her for a long moment, as if he wanted to say something more. But the driver arrived, and the moment was lost. On the way back, the silence was heavy, but not uncomfortable. Camilla gazed out the window at the city, while Lucas, behind the wheel, seemed lost in thought. When they arrived at the mansion, he walked her to the bedroom door. "Good evening, Camilla," he said, his voice softer than ever. "Good evening, Lucas." The silence stretched on. He took a step forward, almost as if to kiss her, but he stopped himself, pulling back at the last moment. Camilla closed the door with her heart racing, leaning against it. Her hands were shaking, and one question wouldn't leave her alone. Was love truly blossoming in a marriage that was supposed to be just a sham? The weight of truth. The charity ball had changed everything. After that night, Camilla and Lucas were no longer just two pawns in a cold contract. Something had blossomed in the silence of their gazes, in the warmth of their intertwined hands, in the forced closeness that had become strangely comfortable. But with this change also came fear. Camilla wondered if she could trust his sincerity, and Lucas, shy and reclusive, seemed to be waging a battle with himself every time she tried to get close. That week, Camilla found him in the mansion's garden, sitting alone on a stone bench. He stared into the distance, his shoulders hunched as if carrying the weight of the world. "Are you okay?" he asked, coming closer. Lucas looked up in surprise, then looked away. "Not a lot." She sat beside him, silent, waiting for him to continue. "You know, everyone thinks being heir to a fortune is easy, that everything is sorted, but the truth is, I've always lived with expectations. My mother wants me to be a strong leader. The council wants me to be ruthless. And He took a deep breath, running a hand through his hair. "I've never been any of those things." Camilla watched him closely, hearing the sincerity in his voice. For the first time, she saw not the distant millionaire, but a fragile man struggling to discover who he truly was. "And that's why I never—" He hesitated, swallowing hard, "never got involved with anyone." She frowned. "Never." He shook his head. "Never. I didn't have the time, nor the courage. I always feared they were only approaching me for the money. I always lived surrounded by distrust, until when I realized it was too late." Camilla felt her heart ache. Lucas, the millionaire heir who seemed to have everything, was confessing his deepest loneliness. "Lucas," she murmured, lightly touching his hand, "you don't have to carry everything alone." He looked at her, his clear eyes filled with something new, vulnerability. "And you don't scare me, Camilla." "Why should I?" He took a deep breath. "Because you're the first person who looks at me and doesn't just see the Albuquerque heir. You see me as a man. And that scares me because it makes me want things I've never allowed myself." The silence between them was thick, charged with emotion. Camilla felt her heart race. She wanted to say something, but the words were lost. That night, dinner was different. Lucas observed her more closely, asked about her childhood, and laughed at her little comments. Camilla, for her part, felt increasingly comfortable, as if the ice between them was finally breaking. After the meal, he invited her to the library. The space was cozy, with tall bookshelves filled with old books. Lucas seemed nervous, pacing back and forth. "I have to be honest, Camilla." He stopped in front of her, his eyes fixed. "I can't pretend this is just a contract anymore." Her heart stopped for a moment. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that I think about you all the time. That every gesture of yours dismantles me. That for the first time in my life, I feel like I can be myself in front of someone." Camilla swallowed, her hands trembling. "Lucas, don't joke about this. I'm not kidding." He approached slowly. "I'm falling in love with you." The words echoed in her chest like thunder. Part of you wanted to hear this from the beginning, but another part still remembered it had all started as a contract. "What if it's just neediness?" he asked hesitantly. "What if you're confusing things?" He moved closer, so close that she could feel his breath. "Maybe, but I've never felt anything like it before. And I'm not going to waste this only chance to discover what love is." Camilla felt tears well up. The barriers he'd tried to maintain were crumbling. "Lucas, he began, but his voice failed. He lifted his hand and gently touched her face. The gesture was so delicate, so reverent, that she closed her eyes, allowing herself to feel it. When she opened them, she found his eyes filled with suppressed emotion. "If you allow me, I want to learn to love with you, Camilla." The silence that followed was so intense, it felt like screaming. Camilla didn't respond with words. She simply let herself be enveloped in his embrace, feeling her heart beat in unison with his. At that moment, he understood that the contract that had united them was no longer valid. What was emerging between them was greater than any clause or deadline. But life isn't all about confessions. The next day, the family's lawyer revisited the terms of the agreement, reminding them that within 2 years, the marriage could be dissolved without complications. Camilla heard it with a tight chest. Lucas did too, and for the first time, they both knew they didn't want to wait 2 years to find out if it was real. They wanted to decide there, together, whether they would have the courage to transform the improbable into the definitive. Love or contract? The lawyer's words echoed like a dry blow. In 2 years, the marriage can be dissolved without any major complications. Camilla lowered her eyes, clasping her hands in her lap. The contract had always been there, hovering over their heads like a shadow. But now that Lucas had confessed his feelings, it sounded like a threat. After the lawyer left, the room fell silent. Lucas remained standing, his back to her, looking out the window at the city. Camilla's heart sank. "So that's it?" he murmured. "After all this, we're still bound by the contract?" Lucas turned, his clear eyes full of emotion. "No, we're not. Not anymore." He approached slowly, kneeling before her. "Camilla, I know I brought you into my life through a cold-hearted agreement. I know you accepted for your mother, not for me. But now, I can't imagine my life without you." Camilla took a deep breath, tears welling up. What if this is just the weight of loneliness? What if, as time passes, you change your mind? He held her hands firmly. "I've lived alone for 27 years. I know what loneliness is. But with you, it's different. When we're together, I feel alive. It's not neediness, Camilla, it's love." The confession made his heart tremble. In the days that followed, Lucas began to act differently, not just with words, but with gestures. He accompanied Camilla to the hospital where his mother was receiving treatment, held her hand in public without hesitation, and appeared unexpectedly in the kitchen just to help her cut vegetables, laughing at his own ineptitude. Camilla felt increasingly drawn to her. The reclusive and shy millionaire was transforming before her, not by force, but because he wanted to. And she, even reluctantly, could no longer deny that she too had fallen in love. The turning point came on a rainy afternoon. Camilla was in her room, reading, when Lucas entered without warning. He was wet, his hair messy, his eyes full of intensity. "I need to talk to you." She stood up, startled. "What happened?" "I can't live with this contract anymore." He tossed a folder of documents onto the table. "Here you go, the settlement papers." Camilla's eyes widened. You're going to terminate." "I will destroy it." His voice was firm. "Because I don't want anything to bind us to a lie. I want us to be together by choice, not by obligation." And in front of her, he began to tear the sheets one by one. Camilla brought her hands to her mouth, overcome with emotion. Tears flowed uncontrollably. "Lucas." He walked closer, the pieces of paper still falling to the floor. "I love you, Camilla, not as part of an arrangement, not as an obligation. I love you because you're the only person who showed me who I can truly be." The words pierced her soul. Her heart, once divided, now had a certainty. "I love you too, Lucas." She smiled through her tears, "Not for the money, not for the last name, but for the man you are." The kiss that followed was neither shy nor restrained. It was intense, overwhelming, and filled with everything they had held inside until then. It was the merging of two souls who, against all odds, had found each other. That night, for the first time, there was no contract, no deadlines, no silence, just love. Months later, society was surprised by the official announcement. Lucas and Camilla would renew their vows in an open ceremony, not as part of an agreement, but as a real marriage. The ceremony was simple, but full of emotion. Camilla wore a lacy dress, as delicate as she was, and Lucas, in a light-colored suit, never took his eyes off her. At the time of the vows, he said in front of everyone, "One day, I thought I needed a wife to take over the hospital, but what I really needed was someone to teach me how to live. Camilla, you are my life." She, moved, replied, "I thought I was entering into a soulless contract, but I discovered I was entering into the greatest love of my life. Lucas, you are my home." The kiss that sealed the union was celebrated with applause and tears. Time passed, and the couple built together not just a marriage, but a mission. Camilla returned to nursing, now working on social projects funded by Lucas. The hospital gained new wings for the neediest, and Lucas, once shy and isolated, transformed into a human leader, guided by love. And every night when they lay together, he still whispered in her ear, "Thank you for turning my contract into true love." And Camilla smiled, because she knew that unlikely love had been written to last forever. Thus ends the journey of Camilla, the humble nurse, and Lucas, the millionaire heir of the hospital. What began as a cold agreement turned into a deep love, proving that sometimes fate uses unlikely paths to unite two souls. And if this story spoke to your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Also share this video with someone you love. Click now, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming stories that we are already preparing with great care for you. Remember, every like, every subscription, and every comment helps us reach more people and keep this mission of touching hearts through stories alive. So be part of this family that grows every day, and never forget, you too are the protagonist of your own story.